All good. Alrighty, so this is a creative elective for those who may be lost or not quite sure. If you are here, fantastic. Can we welcome Levi this morning as he comes to bring us around? Cheers, mate.
Yeah, awesome. Good afternoon. Is it just past 12? Afternoon. Fantastic. Thanks for coming along. So we're going to chat songwriting today. We're not getting too deep. We're not going to write a song or anything today. That's tomorrow morning for the songwriters. I think there's an invite-only session, so if you sign up for that, fantastic. We'll really dig deep tomorrow. But today, we're going to have some Q&A at the end, a chance to chat, see where you guys are at. I'm going to go really quickly around the room and just find out who does what, so I've got an idea of who I'm talking to. But yeah, a little about me. I've been a songwriter since I was 12 years old. So I started writing songs when I was 12. Just wrote hundreds of songs. Just they started as poems and became lyrics and had music attached to them. I kept them in this big box under my bed. My mum thought it was porn. It was not. She busted into my room one day. The curiosity got the better of it. She's like, I have to know. And she grabs this box out and was crying over all these songs that I'd written, which was beautiful. But yeah, it was a better hobby, believe me. I love writing songs. I think there's such a power in writing songs, and I don't just mean worship songs and songs for the church. That is my calling to write songs that edify the church. I also sing and perform in Christian schools, very rarely in public schools as well, and in, I guess, the public space, such as bars and cafes and stuff. But my desire, where I feel God's fit is for me, is really inside the church, to try and remind the church of its call to be doing justice. And this is birthed for me out of my favourite verse, which is Amos chapter 5, verses 21 to 24. And it says this, I'll paraphrase. I can't stand the things you're doing. This is the prophet Amos talking to the people of Israel at the time that had just gotten super religious, super great at church, and super forgetful with everything else. I can't stand your things you're doing, says the Lord. All your meetings and your plans, even your offerings, I won't accept, or the working of your hands. I will not listen to your music. This noisy music I detest. I want justice like a river, flooding streams of righteousness. So that's my heartbeat. I want to know what you play and if you write songs. I'm just going to really fire around the room super quick, just starting here. Sing? Songs? Write songs? Great. Sing? Yep, over here. Play keyboard, don't be shy. Visual artist, fantastic, yep. Sing and write, awesome.
Hello, my name is Sam. I play guitar.
That's the way. Do you write songs, Sam?
I've tried to avoid it because I'm going to
Get away from it. Good. I'm really glad you're here. It's good. Yes.
I'm a techie and I also play guitars.
Awesome.
Play acoustic guitar.
Acoustic? Yep. Write songs? No? Up the back on the left.
I like to sing and I write lyrics, but not write music.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Sing and write.
Sing and write. Lyrics? Yep. Songs? Yes. Sing. Beautiful. Do you write as well? No? She does? Some worship songs or?
I just write
Death metal. Rap.
hardcore rap.
Cool. Excellent. Yes. Sing and paint. Oh, beautiful. At the same time? Be interesting. Wow. Worked with a guy once that while I sung, he painted. That was very interesting what he came up with. But... Wow, beautiful. Okay, up next. Sing and write? Sing and play drums. That's the hardest thing of all. Using all your limbs? Nah, not for me. Yes. With the energy in the back corner, yeah.
Sing, write, and guitar.
Sing, write, and guitar. Okay. Guitar?
Guitar, piano, and lots of.
Beautiful. Awesome.
Yeah, guitar, keys, and
Awesome. Singing keys? Yep.
Saxophone, piano, and sing.
Wow. Show off. Yes.
Drawing and writing stories.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, love stories. Great.
Writing.
Writing?
Writing.
Writing. Beautiful. I'll start in the young hat.
Guitar, writing, drums.
Dancing. Yeah. Awesome. Great job, didn't he?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, I sing and used to write, but I haven't for a long time.
Yep. Fantastic.
I'll play drums.
Play the drums. Sing.
Getting to see the.
Just here in the black jumper, in the hoodie. Oh, sorry, yeah.
Piano.
Piano. Beautiful.
Sorry, nothing at all wrong, but I like to sing. You can't really stop me. Nobody likes to sing. I like to play the piano. I
Beautiful.
like to paint. I like to do drawing, and
Super
I like to
great.
write, but not songs yet.
Yep. Yes. Yet is the key word. Beautiful. Yes.
Guitar, sing a bit, and write a bit.
Guitar. Awesome. Just coming down the back.
Yeah, probably a little bit of everything, but that would do some writing.
Yep. Excellent.
Singing.
Fantastic.
Drums.
Beautiful.
Artist.
Artist. Awesome. Yes, you came in late. Everyone's just sharing their greatest fear. Go. No. Do you play an instrument or sing? Songwrite? Do you write music at all? Any composers? I mean, just music. Composers in the house. People that can read music. Heard of music? Good. Can you just put up your hand if you play in church? If you're part of a worship band or have been part of a worship band, put up your hand if you want to be someday. Awesome. Fantastic. People that play out in the world, at pubs, cafes, bars, restaurants, wineries. Awesome. Okay. School? I'm at school. Excellent, excellent. That gives me a great idea of just how to pitch this session. That's awesome. Let's jump into it. I'll grab my notes. So at any point today, if there's something that sparks your interest or you'd like some more information, just shout out. It's not school, you don't have to put your hand up. Ask questions as we go. Make it fun, make it interesting for people. If you have a question, I'm sure someone else has the same one, and just be confident to ask it. Go for it. So, yeah, we're talking about songwriting. It can be very daunting for people to write songs. It's always been for me out of experiences. So out of profound life experiences, out of emotional moments in my life. I've written songs about my family. I've written songs that have nothing to do with my family, about experiences travelling in Uganda, like I shared a little bit about this morning. Wrote a whole album years ago called Children of War. It was 11 songs that focused on child soldiers, real commercial hit on radio in Australia. It's what people love to hear, you know, these painful stories of broken kids. But I really, really love just writing from experience. Some people are really different. If you ask Bono from U2 that same question, I think, to be honest, he writes when he's high or something on something, because it seems very discombobulated to me. It seems very disconnected, just train of thought. Coldplay's lyrics can be sometimes similar. It's people that just write in this freedom, and you don't really know what it means. I don't think they really know what it means, but somehow it has this beautiful meaning at the end of the day. I'm much more literal. When I approach the songs that I sing, I'll either sing a story and tell a story that I'll demonstrate in just a moment, or I'll try to communicate a message. Like my song that I shared this morning, Beyond the Horizon, is really just to wake people up to see that God sees beyond the horizon. He knows what's in store for our life, and it's conveying an emotion, a message, an idea to the audiences, to the congregations I sing to. I've got some really quick notes, just things to jot down that I've learned through my songwriting journey. And they're just three really cool things. Be specific. No one learns anything from vague statements, so be super specific. Went to a great songwriting workshop years ago by John Mayer's songwriting teacher from Berkeley University, so my ears were open. I was switched on that night. He said he worked on a lyric with John Mayer for years, and the lyric goes like this: "I'll never let your head hit the bed without my hand behind it." Just killer lyric. I mean, it's not something you'd sing in church, but it's an amazing lyric of a man in love with a woman. I'll never let your head hit the bed without my hand behind it. What does it paint the picture of for you? Soulmates. Yep. Devotion. Okay, there's this, it's obviously this bedroom scene. He's laying her down gently. He's in love with this woman. He cares for this woman. He's holding, he's intimate with this woman. But what a line that just set himself up for mostly women coming to his concerts for the rest of his future. I think it's incredible. It's incredible, the power of just being specific. And again, no one learns anything about you from vague statements. There is a chance that you have in songwriting. When you're putting your lyrics down on a page, when you're telling a story, it's just the same thing. To say vague general statements of Susie was walking down the streets and I saw her and I liked her and we fell in love, the rest is history. Boring. So boring. So boring. What was she wearing? What did she look like? How was she walking? Was she walking slowly? There's so many things to describe about these moments, and that's the most boring subject we could ever pick, someone walking down the street. But what are those moments for you that have really defined your life, the experiences that have defined who you are, the things that you've learned from, and how do you describe them? For me, I met a guy called Christopher on the streets of Uganda, and I'll sing this song in just a sec, but I'll tell you about this moment that became a song for me. And it was very easy. It was nothing forced. I just described the motions of the 3 days of my interactions with this man, Christopher. So I was in Uganda. We were working with child soldiers. We'd been there for 3 months. Of our 6 months, we were really just burnt out. We needed a break. Had 2 weeks in this little town called Fort Portal, where a lot of people go to see the gorillas. It was my wife's dream to see the gorillas in the jungle, so we get out to this little town, this awesome little town. It's bustling with tourism. It's a busy place. There's a trading centre with a beautiful marketplace, all these handicrafts and local food cooking. The smell, the aroma of this town up through the mountains and the mist in the surrounding rainforest. It was just incredible, our little town centre. And there were a lot of homeless people there. And there was one in particular that stood out to me on this side of this hill on the way up to a little cafe where we'd have lunch. There sat this man in a bright red jumper, and he held out his hand like this, begging for change. His face was downcast, just staring into the gutter as he sat there by the road, hoping that someone would come and put some change in his hand so he could eat that day. And I saw him on the first day, and I thought, man, I've just been working with kids that are just messed up by war, and I just feel like I've given so much. I don't want to give anymore. I just need a Christian holiday. I want to turn off my good deed button. I don't want to acknowledge this guy's presence at all. And so I cross over the other side of the road so as not to have to walk straight past him and make eye contact. And I go off to the cafe, have some lunch, head home. I avoid this guy. Day 2 comes along, I see this guy sitting there again. I think, oh man, he does look sick. This guy looks pretty tired, pretty broken, and I guess I should respond, but you know what? Maybe he's a con artist. Maybe this is what he does for a living. He just sucks in tourists like me, and he's actually doing fine. And besides, it's not my problem. If he's really sick, I bet there's a local hospital he can go to. I bet they have Centrelink here that he can go and get a dole check from. I don't know what they call it, Uganda Link or something. I don't know. It's not up to me. There's a Bleeding Heart Church mob down the road. I saw a Catholic church down there. They'll have some nuns, a priest that can come and visit this guy. It's not my job. I don't speak the language. Excuse. Don't want to deal with this guy. I go off to the cafe for lunch. I walk back home to bed that night. We're staying in a little hotel just out of town, little grass thatched, little farley kind of chalet thing out in the sticks, and I reach out to my bedside table to switch off the lamp, pull my mosquito net down over the bed to sleep that night, and I think, I wonder if there's a little Bible in the top drawer of my bedside table. And sure enough, the Gideons had been there before me, and they've dropped a little red Bible in there. I pick it out. I do something really stupid, really dumb, never do this, do a random page turn, and God goes, gotcha. I turn to the story of the Good Samaritan, and I read through the story of the Good Samaritan on that page. Just eyes are drawn to it for whatever reason. No alarm bells are going off at this time. I read about a man who's broken and left for dead, right, by the side of the road. He's been beaten up, everything he has is stolen, the clothes off his own back, and he's left to just bleed out and die by the side of the road. Along comes these two religious leaders, these two godly, faithful men. They have the power to help, the resources to help, but one by one they walk by him, and he just hears these footsteps trailing off into the distance. This man in his hour of need is ignored, and the next person that enters his story is a Samaritan. He's a foreigner. He comes walking along the road, he sees this man, and he has pity on him. Puts him on his own donkey, which might imply he got off his own donkey. Puts him on his own donkey, walks him a few miles to the nearest hotel, tells the hotel manager to look after this guy, give him food, clothing, water, bandage his wounds. I'll be back in a few days to fix up the bill. And Jesus, as he's telling this story to the disciples and those around, he asks simply, who did the right thing? Who showed mercy? Who showed compassion? They all answer the crowd. They say, well, the Samaritan, this foreigner. It suddenly dawns on me. This is me. This is me. I've been ignoring this guy in the red jumper who's begging by the side of the road for 2 days. I've just walked past him with a hard heart. You know, this isn't right. And so I walk into town the next morning, almost run to this guy. And the closer and closer I get, I start to realise why he's homeless, why he's begging. He's holding out his hands like this, and I see that he doesn't have fingers that resemble anything like mine. He's got stumps, fingers covered in burns, and like duck's webbing almost between what's left of his fingers. And I see these scars up his wrists as he holds out his hand, and I greet him, we shake hands. He tells me his name's Christopher. Spoke beautiful English, told me as a 6-year-old boy he was in a house fire, right? So his mum was cooking with kerosene. His house, made of sticks and bark and grass, caught fire, and everything he owned got burnt up in that blaze. And he has this 6-year-old boy is trying to save the few possessions that he and his mum owned, was so badly burned trying to rescue this stuff that he lost his hands. They had to amputate his fingers because they were too far gone. So this young guy, probably in his early 30s, he's been in this situation for a long time. He's worn out friends, he's worn out handouts from family, and he's forced to beg, hoping that a stranger, a foreigner like me, would do something about it, would respond. And so my wife and I, with tears in our eyes, we go down to the local marketplace and we fill the biggest bag we can find with food, with clothing, with a sleeping bag, a pillow. You name it, we got it for this guy, and we zip it up, we take it back to him. He's super grateful, he's teary. He can't even open the zip though on this bag to see what's inside. We have to help him. And it dawned on me that day that maybe, just maybe, it's not up to everyone else to respond to the things that God puts right in front of us. We want the government to intervene. We want the Red Cross, World Vision, Compassion. They're doing the justice, aren't they? The church, shouldn't the church be doing all the good stuff, the justice? But what about the things that God places right in front of us? Is there a heart test? Is there a faithfulness test somewhere for us? So I broke this story down into little chunks and put it into verses. I found a chorus. I wanted to honour this guy, so I called the song Christopher. It's on my second album, and I hope that as I sing it, you can see how this story kind of played out, kind of fleshes out a little more detail than the story I've told you. So this is Christopher, and the message of this song is, don't walk by.
This was a man with scars on his back, holding out to the world. Every day by the roadside he lay, just sitting down in the dirt. Oh, dust covered road, he's not much to see. He says he believes and he prays. Oh, ask him for change, things stay the same for him. He holds out his hands anyway. He says, don't walk by this, don't walk by this, don't walk by this time. Don't walk by this time. On went the days and I learned to look away. I turned my eyes to the ground, not looking back. I couldn't shake the fact that I felt like I let somebody down. Oh, what would I say? What could I do? Thought someone else would come his way. Oh, stop, look around. Nobody's gonna help. Nobody's gonna ease his pain. He says, don't walk by this, don't walk by this, don't walk by this time. Don't walk by this time. His tired eyes continue. Why do you want me gone? Don't leave me here, don't walk on by. Something inside me that gave him some clothes and hands. I couldn't heal his pain, I had to try. I said I won't walk by this, won't walk by this, won't walk by this time. Won't walk by, won't walk by, won't walk by this time.
Thank you. So I hope you could see, do you get how the story kind of fits in with the verse structure of the song and paints that picture? Does that all make sense? Two nods? Cool. I think we need the mic. Can you all hear me? Yeah. Okay, cool. Be honest is the second. So be specific, so no one learns anything from vague statements. Be honest. People really, really identify with truth. And to give you a little example, got a Coldplay. They've got a beautiful song called Warning Sign. It's about a breakup. It's about a separation. It's a relationship breakdown. He sings this beautiful line, 3 words. It's so simple. And the truth is, I miss you. I miss you. There was no great poetic way to say it. There wasn't some analogy. There wasn't some reference to something else or a metaphor. The truth is, put simply, I miss you. He puts in this song. It's the most powerful thing I think they've ever done as a band. It's just this moment of truth and hurt and brokenness and pain that he's going through, and the gift that you give to the world as a songwriter is that sacrifice of your own personal vulnerability to share your scars, like Jason was talking about, to share your truth, share your soul, bare your soul a little bit with others, and it makes other people better, so they can learn how to associate with their own pain. learn a great form of expression through the difficult life experiences that they've had. My drummer is a great guy. It's called Andy. Some of the people here know him. He grew up in Cooma. His mum, at the age of 50, got a really awful form of cancer. She fought for about 6 or 7 years. And he remembers the day that she called him up after having the illness for almost a year. She tried to keep it secret, protect her kids and her family. They're all grown adults, but she calls him up and she says, look, I hate to tell you this, but I've got cancer, I'm not getting better, it's terminal, can't be cured, I'm getting sicker, I will die from this. And he remembers that phone call, and in this very short space of time, he thinks about his kids, not getting to know their grandma. He thinks about the conversations he should have had. He thinks about the time he should have been spending on holidays with his mum. And so he wrote a song that we collaborated with together. He wrote a bunch of lyrics, about 8 verses. We made that 3 verses, a couple of choruses, brought it all back to try and capture this song. He wrote the lyrics, I wrote the music. This beautiful song that featured on my last album called This Can't Be Happening. And the whole theme of the song is just, no, this can't be happening. Not to us, not to you, not to me. This happens to other people. I hear these sad stories, but not to me. What a great perspective that is. What a fresh perspective that is on cancer, on dealing with loss. This happens to other people, but I thought my family was rock solid. I thought you were here until you were great grandma. I don't want you to go. Is captured in this song. So be honest, please be honest with this song. The third thing, be personal. If you can't connect emotionally with the song you write, with the story that you write, with the song that you sing, how do you expect anyone else to? Put simply, put bluntly, how do you expect anyone else to? I learned as a performer that if I'm thinking about, the fact that I didn't put the dishwasher on mid-song, and I get off stage and I'm like, I was at a crap gig, just really didn't feel like the audience connected. Maybe that's why. If you can't be there in the moment, I'm sure you've all been to a concert and seen a fantastic singer, a fantastic artist, a performer, a great painter connect emotionally with the piece. It's a powerful thing. It's a powerful way to communicate with the audience. And the same goes with songwriting. If you can connect emotionally with what you're writing, you should love what you do. I'll say that. You should love what you do. Someone came up to me once, they heard my song on the radio, we're travelling together. They asked me later, they said, oh, you must hate hearing your music on the radio. I said, I love it. Why would I hate it? I made it. This is the music that I spend months, sometimes years making, and then had some of the best musicians come and play on it. It's a thrill to hear it. It's a joy. You should love what you do. And you should love your songwriting, your lyrics, just the same. When you get a chance to read them, take that energy, take that passion, take that vulnerability, that purpose, that why. So I want to talk about a few ways to get your songwriting flowing. Maybe you struggle to sit down and write. Maybe it's a struggle for the ideas to come. Sure, get those life experiences. Learn, think about the past experiences that you've been through. Travel, meet people, work with other artists, fantastic. But if you're sitting there and you just need some really concrete tips, there are 5 basic questions to ask yourself. The first one is why? Why am I writing this song? Why am I doing this? Why am I sitting here with this pen and paper in my hand? Why do these lyrics matter? Why does this song matter? Why? Why? It's really, really important. My first manager, I was signed with a group called Small House Records, a Christian label in Melbourne, and it was a husband and wife team. He was the producer, she was the manager. she drilled me on every song. She'd be like, what's this song about? Oh, I don't know, it's like, just this cool moment when I was a kid, I had a cat and it died. I don't know. It's like, no, I want you to find out why you wrote this song. And when you look into it, you're like, actually I was really inspired by this one verse that I heard my dad preach one time. And I went home and I reflected on that, and then a friend of mine committed suicide. Whatever it is, it's going to be really different for all of you, but finding your why is so important. That can happen before you write a song, it can happen after you write a song, but know your why. It's like being ready in season and out of season to share your faith, to give an account for what you believe in. It's the same with songwriting. Let people know why you write it. That gives power. That's the feel for the song. Second, who is going to hear it? Really, really important question. Someone said back, I write for myself. I don't really want others to hear it. Sometimes I just write for myself. That is cool. That is totally fine. That is your expression to God. Just between you and your bedroom wall. That is awesome. That's a fantastic cathartic exercise for you. Awesome. If, on the other hand, you are desperate to express yourself creatively in front of an audience, you want to have an impact, you want to share, you feel that what you've written is really to share with someone else, who are you writing for? That will inform your songwriting before, during, after. Who are you going to sing it for? Who are you going to share with? Who are you going to read this story to, these lyrics to? Who's going to turn the air conditioner down? Thank you. Who? Second part of who. Who's it about? Who is the song about, and whose perspective are you writing from? That song I just sung, Christopher, that's from my perspective. But the bridge goes into his perspective. His tired eyes said to me, why do you all ignore me? Don't leave me here, don't walk on by. He didn't say those things to me. That's what I could imagine him saying. That was the look in his eye, that desperate plea as I walked past him and ignored him those 2 days. So think about whose perspective are you writing from. It's really important. A lot of the great Christian songs you hear on the radio are singing from a perspective of someone that doesn't know the truth of the gospel, doesn't know Jesus yet, maybe hasn't had that encounter with Jesus and finds hope. Great way of telling stories through that. So who is really important. So we've got why, we've got what else? Who, we don't need you guys to do it. We've got why, who, where. Where's the song set? For me, Uganda has taken up a lot of my songwriting. But when I think more locally, the songs I've written in Australia, some have been about street ministry that I've done in my city, Melbourne, working with the homeless community. Some have been about the refugee community, Welcome the Stranger. I shared about my dad's story, and the Where was this beautiful little church. But I want you to be able to imagine through your songwriting where the song is set, where the story is set. Take the listener on a journey with you into that song. If you can describe that place and really communicate what it's like through your song, even just to yourself, that informs your song as you write. I think that's a really powerful thing to do. Next one is when. So the 3 basic principles. Is it in the future? Is it in the now? Is it in the past? What tense are you writing in? It's the same for story writing. You'll learn this in English lit at school or English class. Past tense, future tense, present tense, really, really important when you're songwriting. It can really convey a great deal of emotion if you're singing in the moment. If you're talking about something as in the now, I'm going through this now. It can also be quite reflective if you're singing about the past. Who can think of a song about the past? A song that references the past. I'll give you a couple of examples. His name escapes me. No, I can't give you a couple of examples. Hum it? Oh, I can't even hum the thing. It's gone. When I was... Sunday Bloody Sunday? Yeah, it's about an event in Ireland. When did it happen? In the past. In the past, fantastic. When I was young, when I was little, this song.
When I was 7 years old.
Yeah, when I was 7 years old. Brilliant. Can't remember the artist's name. Once I was 7 years old. What a great voice. When's it sing about? Once. The past. Back in the past. But fantastic, yeah. Right on. Can anyone think about a song in the future?
I can only imagine.
I can only imagine. Brilliant. I can only imagine. There's power in that too. Because our hopes and dreams aren't stored in the past, our hopes and dreams are stored in the future. They're what we're aiming for on that day when I see your face. When? When is so important. So important. Okay, so we have why, who, when, what. What are you writing about? What do you want to convey in your writing, your story, with your lyrics that you're writing, even with your singing, with your performance? What are you trying to communicate to the audience? Same thing. My manager used to drill me on why and what. What's your purpose? What are you trying to say here? And why? I found when I first started singing, I was first expressing my songs in public that I'd written, it became background music pretty quick. Like I'd have a great audience like this, I'd start playing. I was really nervous, I was really shy, I didn't understand my what and my why, and the audience started chatting with themselves, and it just turned into a cafe. It just turned into that kind of environment. As soon as I understood what I wanted to convey, what message I wanted to share. Like I shared at the start, I really feel that my calling from God, my word from God has been to edify the church, to encourage, to challenge, to stir up the church towards justice, towards having a compassion. If I can go into a school and encourage a kid to take a mission trip, and they get in touch with me on Facebook 5 years later and say, you know what, I'm living in Kenya now, working in an orphanage, job done. Fantastic. But know your what. Who do you want to inspire? Why? It's so important, these questions. Last one is how. How. And I love to hear what you guys do. You've got the storytellers in the row here on the couch. You've got Painter up the back of the room, another artist here before. Singers. How do you convey this message? You've worked out your what, you know your why, when you want to write, what you're going to write about, where it's set, how you're going to convey it, are you going to sing this message, who are you going to sing it to? All these questions really matter. So how is a massive one. For me, my how is hopefully to find an opportunity to sing to a Christian audience. There's that relatability, we have a shared past experience for the most part, we have a bit of shared commonality in upbringing for the most part, and it's an audience that I don't have to do this groundwork with to be able to just share these songs from a basic scriptural understanding that might be shared. But my how is to get to communicate on stage in front of others. What is your how? How are you going to express this message? Is it through a fantastic painting? Is it through singing and taking people on a worship journey and experience? To get off track just a little, one of my favourite experiences ever was being part of an AOG in Bendigo down in Victoria, and the pastor's youngest daughter, she's about 19, she's up on stage, pretty nervous, kind of shy girl, but super tall, beautiful young girl. And she's worship leading. She hasn't done it a lot. She's super not experienced at it. But she just connected emotionally with her Father in heaven, with God. And halfway through the worship set, singing one of these classic songs like Our God is Greater or something, she looks heavenward and she starts to cry. There's tears fall down her face and she stops singing. Everyone else keeps going. The music keeps going. She wasn't even singing. And it brought everyone into this incredible atmosphere of worship. Incredible atmosphere of worship because she was connected. She was so connected. She knew what she was singing about, who she was singing to, why she was singing. Her when was right there, now. in the moment. You know, she knew where she was before God. It was amazing, amazing. So there's some really great questions you can ask yourself with songwriting. Cool. Any questions so far burning? We'll keep moving. All right. I want to look at creating sense memories. So God's given us some amazing senses. Who can tell us what the senses are? Go for it. Yes.
Eyes. Oh, no.
Sight. Shout them out.
Hearing.
Sound. Can I say face? Taste. Sight. Sound. Taste. Smell. Touch.
Temperature.
And sixth, if you can see ghosts or something. So the 5 senses: sight, sound, taste, touch, smell. Smell. Yeah, excellent. Not many songs about smell, though, is it? It's really. I want you to think if your grandparents aren't alive. I'm sorry. I hope it doesn't bring up bad memories, but I want you to think about your grandparents' house. Pick your mum's parents, your dad's parents. Doesn't matter. Think about your grandparents' house for just a moment. Close your eyes. Just 10 seconds. Think of a smell from your grandparents' house, a sight, a taste, a touch, something you remember. Go for it. Just silence, just for 10 seconds. Cool. All right. Cousin's soap for me. Cousin, you know that old big block of like orange Cousin's soap, and never clean shower to go along with it. That reminds me of my grandpa's house. Someone say, what do you smoke? Yeah. Grandfather's a smoker or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Another sense memory. Yes. What kind of food? Food. Let's get like a casserole, a lasagna. What's Grandma cooking? Everything. Where are you sitting when you eat this food? At the table. What can you see? Give us something that's a sight. Is it messy? Are the plates set perfectly? Are the placemats? Yeah. Awesome. So we zoomed in a little bit there. We can start to see that in our minds. Someone else over here.
Strawberry patch.
Strawberry patch.
Stealing strawberries from her. Strawberry patch.
Get a cheeky grandpa. Yes. Awesome. Someone else up that. Yeah. Sense memory from Grandpa or Grandma's place.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we often kerosene in the shed and smell the leather seats of the old Zephyr and kerosene, old kerosene.
What's a Zephyr for those who don't know?
It's a car, a really old car that wasn't cool when you're 16 and your mum's picking you up from school with a big wing and wings.
Fantastic. The leather seats of a Zephyr. That's cool. That's cool. Yes, you know, red.
The super tight tucked in beds.
Oh, I know. Oh, first thing you do is get rid of that.
Yeah.
Awful. Scratchy sheets. Anyone have that? Where do they get them? It's like removalist blankets. Yes.
Camphor.
Camphor. Please tell us about camphor.
Like mothballs, but better.
Mothball. Really intense smell?
Yeah, because they're like through every cupboard and like the house, and it just kind of brings a like a clean, tidy, but somehow love because it's their house.
Yeah. It's what you attach these sense memories to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see your grandmother when you
When
do
I
this smell?
but yeah, and I can see the house and like the dining table and past spilling brown sugar accidentally everywhere and
Wow. Wow. Yeah, what a scene. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Someone from this side of the room, up the back.
Cracking nuts. My grandma had like a bowl of like walnuts, all these nuts, and we have a nutcracker. And
Okay.
that's sound of cracking nuts.
Awesome. Did you do these walnuts or something?
Yeah. We'd all just sit around, us kids, and crack them.
Is that a sight memory for you? Is it a sound?
Because we didn't eat nuts other than grandma's.
My dad visited his grandma once, and I don't know if this is a joke or not, but he told me he visited his grandma once. He had some cashews in a jar, and he ate some cashews, and he went out to his grandma and he said, "Oh, these cashews they're really bland. I hope they'd be salted. It doesn't seem like they're salted." She goes, "You did it. They used to be chocolate covered." Anyway, really quick, we'll go through the 5 senses, and I just want you to shout out a memory from your grandparents' place. I want a sound memory from this side of the room. Sound memory.
Laughter.
Laughter. Fantastic. Who's laughing?
Nan and Papa.
What are they laughing at?
Themselves. Each
Why are they
other. Just doing something silly, want to do something silly, and the
They
other
just
one will
dance.
just start laughing.
That's great.
And then they laugh together.
That's great. Another sound one?
Motorbikes.
Motorbikes. What's the sound of that?
Just revving, like motorbikes and cars revving and stuff like
Who's riding it? Who's riding this machine?
that. Everybody.
Everybody. Awesome. Round of grandpa's place. Fantastic. Okay, sight. This side of the room. A sight memory from your grandparents' house. Place.
Big leaves.
Big leaves.
There's a gigantic fig tree in the middle of the backyard.
Oh, wow.
That's cool. It just kind of holds together all of my memories of that place.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right.
I've got a mulberry tree because those 10 grandchildren could be up at it at once. It was so big and we just went there eating mulberries.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Beautiful. Okay, touch memory. Touch memory. Anyone got? From grandparents' house.
Shagpile carpet.
Shagpile carpet.
Warm towels.
Warm towels.
Yeah, my
Awesome.
grandparents used to hang it in front of the wooden fireplace all day.
Oh.
We did.
I remember the creaking floorboards. My grandpa would sit at the table and his leg would bounce up and down. So
Okay.
I remember the feeling of the floorboards bouncing
Bit wobbly.
up and down.
Bit wobbly, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Another touch memory up the back. Anyone?
No rough, dry hands.
Rough, dry hands. Of your grandfather?
My grandmother.
Grandmother?
No dry hands.
Was she a hard worker or?
Yeah, she works a lot.
Can you
She
describe
would
what
always
they
like pat you.
Okay.
And yeah, she had really like dry.
It's rough dry hands. This is fantastic stuff. Okay, what are we missing? What sense are we missing? Taste. Taste. Give me some taste memories. Yo.
Lasagna.
Lasagna. What does it taste like?
Tomato and cheese.
Really? That's someone over here.
My nan's caramel slice.
Oh, come on.
Like, beautiful.
Just the best.
Yeah, like everyone you can get to would be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, and you can't stop at just one piece. You've got to have.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So this is the way, this is just the way that I approach songwriting. Again, I love things that are really literal. I don't want to waste anyone's time. I just want to get to the point. Here's what I'm thinking, here's what I'm feeling, here's the story I want to tell you. I hope you get something from it. I'm not going to fill it with metaphor and crazy extra meaning we've got to dig for and Google and hunt on the internet just to find what the heck was he talking about when he wrote that. So for me, finding those sense memories and capturing them in a song is just a powerful thing. I want to look at bringing that into a worship context because, again, those who are in a worship team or serve, can you just put your hands up for me? It's most of us. Cool. All right, good. New wine. We've been singing at this conference. Not all of you drink wine. I really hope some of you really don't drink wine. Has anyone opened a bottle of wine? What's the smell? Fruity. Yeah. Full body. Oaky sometimes. Might be a bit of a smokiness to it, a bit of char, I'm thinking about whiskey now. What are some of these things we think about with new wine? Sweet? Yeah, gets the taste buds going maybe. An unknown. An unknown. Something suspenseful, exciting about it. Cool. All right. Fantastic. What's new wine an analogy for in the song that we sing? Brooke Fraser song.
The passage of scripture when Jesus is describing what people around him becoming talking to religious people.
Yep.
And he's basically saying you're an old wine, skin.
Yeah.
Mainly you've lost your taste, you've lost the part of yourself that God was really in, and it's leaking out everywhere. There are a lot of wineskin with holes in it. You need to become a new wineskin and a new wine through what I'm going to do through you.
Fantastic.
And I can't do that until you become a new wineskin.
2 words. New wine. It's wine. Talking about wine. It's our topic. Descriptor before it. Old, new, yesterday's, could be anything. But she chose new wine. Oh, powerful words. For those of us who've grown up in church and know the history of the text behind that, the scripture behind that, has such a powerful meaning. Has there been a song about it before? I can't remember. Maybe an old hymn. I've certainly not heard that lyric before. It's a powerful one that just refreshes the church. It's kind of like this reset button. I think that's a fantastic song. Creates an image in your mind, a smell, a taste maybe. New wine. Awesome. Great Are You Lord by All Sons and Daughters. You know that song? Great Are You Lord? Good. Sing me the chorus, the first line of the chorus. Someone. It's your breath in our lungs. Whose breath? God's breath. So that means that God created the heavens and the earth, like the universe, oxygen. Wow. Because of God creating the world, Adam and Eve, whole of creation, all of human history that's gone before us, we breathe God's air into our lungs. It's your breath. You're our reason for living. Phenomenal. It's your breath in our lungs. Now, if I was about to write a worship song, sit down, that would be the last thing I talk about, like human anatomy. It's your water in my stomach. It doesn't have the same rhythm, but there's poetic ways to explore new ideas, new ways of bringing people into worship by giving them a new topic to think about. Think about, oh man, it's your breath in our lungs. I had a friend, Peter, who stopped breathing about 6 years ago. He was a dear young guy, he was 21 when he passed away. He was a plumber, a great, excited young guy. Again, cancer got him, this awful beast that affects so many people. That he just ran out of puff, couldn't breathe anymore, couldn't sing. I wrote a song for him about that day when he gets to heaven and just breathes in full and takes this great big breath, can sing, can laugh, can yell, can talk again like he used to. You know, maybe the songwriter from All Sons and Daughters was thinking about an image, a picture like that. It's your breath in our lungs, filling up our lungs. What a great image. 10,000 Reasons by Matt Redman. And on that day, when my strength is failing, the end draws near and my time has come. Still my soul will sing your praise unending. What's it about? And on that day, when the strength is failing, the end draws near and my time has come. What's it about? Death. It's not a great topic again for a worship song. What am I going to write about? Death. Let's do it. But how powerful. Death is something that is universally feared. We worry about it, or anxiety around dying, death, the end. Our time has come. Then there's this line, third line. Still my soul will sing your praise unending. What does that line sing? Where he's going. He knows where he's going. What was that?
The hereafter.
The hereafter. Yeah. It's faithfulness in that. Staying true, staying close. Even into old age. Believing. Staying faithful. Ephesians 5:19 says this. Speak to one another with psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. Sing and make music in your hearts to the Lord. Last thing I want to do today, just looking at worship, songwriting, last thing I want to do is look at the difference between psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. So we're called to sing here in Ephesians and make music to the Lord. To sing and make music to the Lord. Speak to one another. Sing out psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. Can you think of a song that references Scripture for me? Could be a hymn, could be a modern song, modern worship song, an old gospel chorus, direct bit of scripture. I am who you say I am. Yeah, right, you don't have to go the scripture reference. I am who you say I am. Fantastic. Fantastic. I think it's loosely based on Psalm. Another.
Yeah, blessed be the name of the Lord.
Blessed be the name. Yeah, fantastic. Another. Yo.
I think it did put in my head, but Colin Buchanan.
Yeah.
He's like Colin Buchanan. And it was just like...
He's the greatest. He's the greatest. Yep.
Yeah.
What's his sheep?
Yeah, the Isaiah 53.
Isaiah 53.
Yeah.
All the dads in the room.
Added that into the Bible.
Really. It's literal. Just bringing scripture into song that way. So that's one avenue for the worship writer, is to base things heavily off scripture and allow that just to breathe, inform your songwriting, to find a modern way to paraphrase that. I love looking and cross-referencing through different versions of the Bible, not just sticking with NIV. That'll do. Look up the CEV, look up the NKJ, whatever it is. The Message translation has a great way of modernising the language that can help get those creative juices flowing. You might be like, oh, that doesn't quite rhyme. I just want to work this in. Look at a bunch of other versions, you'll find a different way to say it. It's a great tool. Can you think of spiritual songs? When I say spiritual songs, I mean interpretations, reflections on the Bible, reflections on what we've heard spoken from the pulpit, just some spiritual songs that are more from the worshipper's heart rather than biblically inspired. Yes, I'll do that.
King of my heart, maybe?
King of My Heart, who's that by?
Bethel.
Every chance it could be. No idea. What a beautiful name. You're perfect, Tim. What a beautiful name it is. There's no great scripture reference behind that. I'm sure there's many verses that tell of God's beauty and the beautiful name that we serve, but what a beautiful name it is. He's really personal, isn't it? It's really vulnerable. It's just reflecting what a beautiful name it is, the name of Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I don't know the title, but I love you, Lord. I lift my voice to worship you.
Yes. Okay. So whose perspective is that from? Yeah. It's just from the writer's perspective. So it's less congregational, but it can be sung as a congregation because all the individual singers are able to sing out these words and really mean it. Beautiful. I love you, Lord. Yeah. Great. Someone else, another spiritual song, finish this off.
No Longer Slaves.
No Longer Slaves. Yes, love that song. Can you quote some lines from it?
I'm no longer a slave to fear.
Beautiful. I am a child of God. Beautiful. I'm no longer a slave to fear. Yeah, these are great reflections on biblical themes. Awesome. All right. Have we run out of time? It's just getting fun.
Just thank you so much for sharing just your wisdom. I think probably anyone, no matter how far along their songwriting journey, that it could have called them something and a lot out of that. So we just want to thank